Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing a nail gun, an 18 gauge nail gun manufactured by BOSTITCH. This is it right here. And if we just take like a close little look at it here, yeah, this is by far the best nail gun that I've ever used. The technology is light years ahead of what I've been using in the past. The reason why I bought this is because I was using, it was nylon or PVC molding that you would put down towards a baseboard. I'm doing some flooring, and of course when you use the laminate flooring you have to leave a gap all the way around, and you want to hide that gap with the with some quarter round. And I tried to use my old 18 gauge pin nailer, brad nailer, whatever you want to call them. Well, it was just a disaster. So I'm going to show you the old one first, the older technology, and the reason why I'm saying this is just like, if you do woodworking and you use a brad nailer, now this is 18 gauge, which I use most of the time, yeah, you're going to really appreciate, you know, the technology that's built into this today compared to the old technology. Now, I'll just tell you right now, this is like 150 bucks. And I've got 3 different variations of this one. This is all old technology. I got a 23 gauge, 16 gauge, and the 18 gauge. Now this one here, yeah, it's a lot different. And, you know, I'm going to still keep this. But, you know, when I'm using it on stuff that, well, it doesn't damage. And this is what was happening to me. So I got a little bit of a setup here. I'm going to turn the compressor on and hook it up, and I'm going to show you why I had to go buy, well, probably the best nail gun that I've ever seen. And of course I like pneumatic. Electric is just, for me, well, it's far too expensive for the amount of times I'm going to use it. Like $500. Like I bought this years ago, maybe 30 bucks tops, and you know, it's lasted all this time. I didn't really want to go for, you know, the cordless electric ones. Yeah, it's okay if you've got a skilled trade and you're going to get use out of it commercially. But for me, nah. Pneumatic, that's the way to go. And you can still buy these relatively cheap today, but they don't have the technology that I'm going to show you in this one. And it is like super slick. Like, I mean, really super slick. So I'll set you all up and I'll show you why I could not use this. So here we are right here, and you're looking at the front of the nail gun, and you could see the technology that was used back then was this little slider here is a safety mechanism. So as you push it down towards your area that you're going to put a nail in, you could see how that is forced to go down. So as soon as this goes down, it releases a pin up here that allows you to pull the trigger and fire in a nail. In this particular position here, well, it just will not fire at all, and that's a safety mechanism. So you push it down towards your material like this, and then you pull the trigger and it will drive a nail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on the molding that I was using and show you exactly the problem that you'll run into if you have this old style like this, and how the new one is so much better. So here we are right here, and this is that PVC molding. It's like a plastic, right? And I'm using a 1-inch brad nail, and you know, you could go with a say a 5/8 if you wanted to, but I find that the 5/8, well, if you're going into wood, and of course you're going into baseboard most of the time, and the shorter the nail when you're going through a composite like this, you know, this PVC, is it will countersink it way too far because, you know, the nail itself is short. So if you put actually a longer brad in, it makes more resistance, so it doesn't countersink it so far. So let's just take a look at this, and you could see how this is going to operate, right? Now you have to get it in the archway here, right? Or try to. Now, you could see that I can't get it to go through like this, like right, you know, in a horizontal position. It's physically cannot go in there like that. So I tried it going like this, and you push it down. Can you see the marks on both sides here? And the marks are from these two pieces here. Now there's some that are designed that got like a little rubber pad in the front as well. But you know, I'm thinking it's still gonna cause a mark in many times. Plus, I could only go as far as an angle like this. I could not go right, you know, horizontal. So, you know, if you try to go horizontal like this, and I'll try to do one, I'll show you. See, it sits proud and it makes great big divots. So now I'll show you on the new one, and then I'll show you the features that this new BOSTITCH nail gun has that is just incredible. So let me switch over the airlines and I'll bring you back. Okay, so here we are right here, and as you can see, I can go right here like this. And I will tell you something. I'm going to show you on the bench here. See, there's nothing that goes up and down. It just sits, you know, just stable like this. I'm going to show you how that works. But there's no pressing in anything here. So I can go just on the side here and drive in a nail. Here's the other one here. Drive in a nail. Now it does leave a little bit of a mark, but you know what? I have to actually fill these holes with some putty. So if I were to go, say, right here. Now, you take a look at that, and I'll give you a little bit of a close-up because you probably can't see what's happened over this side compared to these three, but I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, so there you go right there. You could see how this left the marks, and if you try to go, you know, sideways too much, it just leaves it sitting up too high. And here's the other marks. And you can definitely tell that there's a difference between the two, and the two different technologies from 30 years ago to today. And this is far superior. So I'll show you the new nail gun and all the features and why I would consider, well, scrapping the old technology and going for the new. Okay, so let's just start off at the business end here. Now you can see it looks like this doesn't actually move or do anything, but the engineering that went into this is just incredible. So if I were to push or pull the trigger up, you can see how the nozzle comes down. So all they've done is transferred the safety mechanism from pushing up to the operation at the trigger. So if I hold this like this, and as I pull the trigger, there comes a point when in the trigger itself that releases the air to drive the brad nail. And that doesn't cause, you know, very little marks. Like on PVC molding, yeah, you will get a little bit of a mark that I can touch up so easily with some putty. But if you take a look at the end here, yeah, you can see that it is very small and precise and tapered. And that's what a lot of people actually need for doing any type of, you know, close quarter carpentry. And when you're working on like a wooden surface or even a hardwood, well, you won't get the same, you know, distortion or damage at all. Now, another feature that I thought was incredible was on my old one, when you ran out of nails, well, you'd notice it after your wood wasn't sticking, right? So on this one here, when you open it up, there's the nails there. Now you notice at this end here, you got this orange indicator. So what happens is, when you're starting to run out of nails, this will go orange for about the last 15 nails. And that gives you plenty of time to reload the gun. And I thought that was just terrific. Now this one here will take between 5/8 or 1/2 inch all the way up to 1 1/8. I'm sorry, 2 1/8. Now another great feature on this is you have two modes. This one here is just one particular brad at a time. And then on the opposite side, there's a little bit of a pin here. You just press that pin in so you can't see on both sides at the same time. So I push the pin, this comes out, and now I can turn it so it goes to the rapid fire. And this is the first time I've ever used an 18 gauge brad nailer that had a rapid fire. I am going to demonstrate that for you as well, because that'll come in real handy. Especially if you buy something, one of these kits, you know, putting together like a dresser or something, and they always throw in, you know, a bag of a couple of hundred nails, and you know, they want you to put this piece of white cardboard on the back, you know, and you got to hammer in all these nails. Well, this would be a perfect opportunity to have the rapid fire where you could just go bang, 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 bang all the way around the back. A lot easier than trying to hammer in some cheesy nails, right? Another engineering idea. Well, this is the belt clip for hanging it on your pouch, and this is actually a pencil sharpener as well. And this comes off left or right. You can put it on either side. And if we take a good look, well, it's hard to see, but if we take a good look right down in here, that's the first time. It's really hard to see, but there is an orange thumb wheel here where you can set the depth, you know, from almost being flush or setting it real deep, depending on the density of the material that you're nailing. And that's a first for me as well, and I thought that's just awesome. Because on the old nailers, and more likely the one that you have here too, is the only way you can adjust the depth, the air pressure at your compressor. This one here, I can just leave it at the fixed 90 psi, and I don't have to worry about adjusting the air pressure on my compressor to the amount of depth that my nail gun will sink a nail. So when we take a look at this, and you take a look at the technology and the build quality, like, I mean, this is just, well, it's really surpassed my you know, my idea of being engineered just perfect. And this is, I would say, about as close to perfect as you could get for a 18 gauge brad nailer. And like I said before, you try and buy this in electric, you're going to spend 500 bucks, right? So I think it's just awesome. Now I'll show you the rapid fire for a second here. And I just mentioned something. I always do buy the nails like this. Now they're pretty cheap. Like, I think I paid like $16 and I got 3,000 of these nails. And I mean, yeah, you get a lot of nails, you know, for 16 bucks. So I have so many different variety of nails, usually from about 5/8 all the way up to 2 inches that I'll use in this. And let's get on to the rapid fire sequential firing idea and how it might come in use for you too. So the whole idea behind the rapid fire is you set it to the rapid fire, you pull the trigger first, and then and it's that easy. And as you can see over here, it comes in just a terrific blow molded case. And this is, I would say, a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend this particular brad nailer. I like the brand BOSTITCH, and I have other BOSTITCH tools as well. And you know what? This is a game changer for me, and the small little tip makes a huge difference if you're into doing some renovations, or you know, if you like doing woodworking. And you know, I always use 18 gauge. In a lot of places I see other people using 16 gauge or 15 gauge, and I've never had a problem. I have been watching like quite a few do-it-yourself videos, or you know, you look on TV. There goes the compressor. Let me turn that off first. Okay, and I find a lot of people are using way too much nail. Like 18 gauge works fine for me on almost everything, and I even like it better if I find that the nail is a little too weak. I'll just put a little bit of glue, right? Because I find that the bigger the gauge you go to, you know, it leaves less of a imprint. So if you go, say, to a 23 gauge, well, you're only holding up paper by then, right? So I mean, I only use 23 gauge in very limited areas. of like veneer, and that's about it. But for the rest of it, yeah, I find far too many people are using, well, too small of a gauge. They're down to like 16 and 15 gauge, and you know, like that's pretty close to framing nails, right? So I stick with my 18. So thanks for joining me here today. I hope you like this little bit of a presentation on this tool. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And you know, I have nothing bad to say about this particular tool. And you know, if you're thinking about buying one and you're looking at the old technology compared to what's available today, yeah, I'd spend a little money extra and get the good stuff, right? Okay, so thank you very much. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe, come back again, and see some real reviews that I do. Cheers.